Hello everyone, my name is Payne, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite cores for early Atlantis Cup metagame, and that's going to be the Mandi, Whiscash, and Escavalier core. These three Pokemon have a very straightforward but powerful way of interacting with one another. We're going to utilize Mandibuzz and Wishcash's innate bulk. We're going to try to secure early shields or early HP advantage with Wishcash early blizzards to ideally set up an endgame scenario with Escavalier where we can sweep once the shields are down. Thanks to its incredible defensive typing and ability to spam Drill Run, there's not a whole lot that can go toe to toe with Escavalier once the shields are down in this format. Thanks to these three Pokemon having a lot of raw bulk and defensive capability between themselves, it really opens the door for us in terms of how we want to round out the rest of this squad. We're not locked into specific team building theory like needing to get our bulk, our safe swaps from somewhere else, so we can get creative with how we want to round it out. Slots 4 and 5, we're going to generally want to dedicate to having some coverage into some holes that can pop open. That being bug typing and water typing. And then our sixth slot, we can round it out with some extra utility, a generalist, a pocket charmer, something like that. So for slot 4, we're going to want to find something that gives us bug coverage, something that gives us ice coverage. Rock throwers are the best place to start. We have Crustle, Titar, and Caracosta. If you wanted to eschew the rock coverage, this is a good time to insert something like a Charm A-Tails. Great at sweeping with all the shields up. Jellicent and Mantine are really good for defensive coverage and extra utility. The rock type users can be fairly polar and they can put you in a lot of 50-50 RPS style matchups, or you guess wrong, you lose. But of the three, Crustle's definitely going to be the safest, just in terms of raw matchup data, stats. It can pigeonhole you a little bit on having overloading on bug typing, so it can limit your ability on how you want to round out the rest of your team. Tyranitar gives us an extra matchup win in Jellicent, but in terms of polarity, this Pokemon either loses to everything or you'll win those matchups fairly drastically. But it does need shields, and its typing not ideal, being weak to fairy, steel, water, ground, just about everything that's going to be popular in the format. Caracosta doesn't have the steel weakness that Crustle and Tyranitar do. Extra body slam spam is something that could be useful as well. But being double weak to grass, losing to Venusaur and Roserade fairly handily, could be a detriment as well. For our first team building exercise, we're going to go ahead and grab Crustle. That's just the safest of the three pick. And then we're going to shift our focus into making sure that we've got coverage for flying and water. The best way to find that is going to be in electric types. Here we have Galvantula, Lantern, and Rotom. If Rotom feels a little bit out of place, it's because it is. But it just goes to show how limited solid electric type coverage is going to be in this format. There's really hard to make a case for Rotom unless you wanted some extra spice, but Galvantula and Lantern are going to be the two Pokemon that we're going to take a look at. Again, this is a good place if you wanted to issue the electric type coverage for something like A-Tails, Jellicent, or Mantine. This is an okay place to do it. They can still pick up some wins against some of those water type Pokemon that we're looking to counter here. But Galvantula is going to give us some extra utility with Lunge. We can set up some really good Lunge debuff swaps to help turn a losing matchup over to us. But Lantern is definitely going to be the safest pick here with its extra bulk and its extra, utility with Hydro Pump as well. The only thing that we do have to make sure that we're not double tripling up on our ground and grass type weaknesses here. So for our first team building exercise, we're going to grab the Lantern, and then we're going to take a look at rounding it off sort of within in a flowchart. We just want to make sure that we've covered up the new holes that we've created with our slots 4 and 5. So here we can go for grass coverage with Venusaur. That just gets us a hard win against things like Quagsire, things like Swampert, that already could pick apart our team if piloted well. We can get some steel coverage with Fortress if we're super worried about fairies like Togekiss and Wigglytuff running around. If we wanted, we could take a Pocket Charmer or Dragon Breath Spammer if a format develops in a way that people aren't respecting Charm and Dragon Breath, we could look to pop some holes using these two Pokemon. This is also, if you haven't already, this is a good spot to pick up some extra utility bulk with Jellicent and Mantine, or Pelipper as an offensive flyer here. We can try to set up some really unique ABB lineups with Wishcash, Mandibuzz, and Pelipper. And Pelipper still can pick up with shields some matchup wins against Swampert, against Quagsire, and such. So for the initial team build, we're going to go ahead and grab Venusaur and just have a very well-rounded, very open, not a lot of bad matchups, um, safe team. If we take a look at some examples here, our initial example of the Core plus Crustle Lantern and Venusaur gives us a PV Poke rating of ABCB and a Threat Score rating of 562. It's a very solid team. Like I mentioned, there's not a whole lot that can really rip through everything. Um, the second team that we take a look at here eschews the rock coverage for a Charm A-Tails. And then we also double up on debuff utility with Galvantula and Mantine, and we look to pick up the extra wins against some of the flying types with Ice Beam from Mantine and the Discharge from Galvantula. This team gives us a Phoebe Poke rating of ABAB and a threat score of 572. Nothing to scoff at all. This is a very strong team. And then our third team that we have here is the initial core plus Caracosta, Jellicent, and a Powder Snow A-Tails. This team is super unique. We're taking triple water. We're basically forcing opponents to bring in that grass type coverage or that electric type coverage, and then we can look to take advantage of that by utilizing the Powder Snow A-Tails and the Mandibuzz to beat up on Venusaur, or Wishcash and Powder Snow A-Tails to beat up on Galvantula, or anything like that. This team secures us a PV Poke rating of ABBB and a threat score of 578. So as you can see, even just with the three teams roughly tossed together, there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of creativity with this core, and there are a lot of different places to go. So if you're looking to get started somewhere in Atlantis Cup, this is a great place I'd recommend to start. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can also give me a thumbs up. And thanks so much for checking it out. Take care.